Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Okay, so today we're looking at, well, it's a bit different.
Oh,
Yeah, we're diving into the world of YouTube personality carnage one only.
interesting.
Yeah, and we're using a pretty unique mix of, you've got his lyrics, like
Yeah.
his poetry and music, and then we've got these like video reflections he posts.
Like vlog style.
Kinda, yeah,
Yeah.
but they're more like introspective.
Yeah.
He talks about some heavy stuff like mental health, addiction, even finding your purpose, that kind of thing.
I see. Yeah, those are pretty universal themes, especially for, I'm guessing, a younger audience.
Right, exactly. And what's really cool is he even put out this, like a proposed mission statement, almost like he's thinking about starting a ministry or something.
Wow, a ministry. That's a pretty big step. So it sounds like he's going beyond just the typical influencer thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is, well, let's just say it's deep.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's like he's inviting everyone along on his journey of like healing and self-discovery. But, the question is, what kind of impact can you really have when you're that open and vulnerable about your struggles?
Yeah, it's a good question. Guess we're about to find out.
Okay, so first up, let's look at the lyrics. And one thing that jumps out is this image of like war that he keeps using.
War.
Yeah. He talks about war for your minds, being prisoners of war, even climbing out the stage as if he's escaping from a battlefield.
Huh. Not your typical pop song lyrics.
Definitely not. So this war thing, it's more than just a metaphor, right? It's
Right.
like he's saying there's this real internal battle going on.
Like a battle for our thoughts.
Yeah. Our beliefs, our sense of self, everything.
That makes sense. And he's big on resilience, right? So it's not just about overcoming external stuff, but these internal struggles too.
Exactly. And he even says, save up these lessons, regrets, and pain. It's like he's taking those tough experiences and turning them into, I don't know, like fuel for growth.
Interesting. Like, I'm going to use this pain to become stronger.
That's it. And that actually connects to the mission statement, right? Because they outline these core values.
Yeah.
Empathy, authenticity, resilience, the power of words.
Oh, wow. So it's like taking all that raw emotion and turning it into something that can actually help other people going through similar things.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he's taking his own struggles and turning them into, I don't know, like a roadmap to show other people how they can find their way too.
Powerful stuff. And that helping others theme, it's everywhere in his work. He talks about being a bearer of water, like someone who provides aid.
So he sees himself as a source of support and comfort, someone who's like been through the fire and come out the other side.
Exactly. With a message of hope.
I'm looking at this one lyric here. Break walls and keep on building. Know once there was no ceiling. Someone set the limits to pass. Stand against them. Like, that's powerful.
It is that defiant spirit, right? Like refusing to be limited by expectations. Very much about self-discovery.
Totally. Find your own voice, your own purpose. He literally says, I am me, like I've said before. No apologies.
He's owning it.
He is. And I think that's where the creative expression comes in, right? The music, the lyrics. He's literally shedding his ink, like this outpouring of emotion that becomes a way to connect with people.
It's raw, authentic.
Yeah. And in a world where everyone's trying to be perfect online, that's so refreshing. It's like he's saying, hey, it's okay to be real.
I like that. It makes him more relatable. He's not some untouchable figure. He's someone who's been through stuff just like the rest of us.
And that ties back to the authenticity and vulnerability in the mission statement, right?
Mhm.
It's like he wants to create a space where people feel safe to just be themselves,
Yeah.
without judgment.
Makes sense. Especially if he's talking about a ministry, right? A place where people can find support and healing.
Exactly. And it's like he's saying, look, I've been through some tough stuff, but I've learned from it, and I want to use that to help others.
A community where people can help each other.
Yeah. And that's such an important message, especially for young people who are going through those same things, right?
Yeah.
He's like, you're not alone. There eyes a way through this.
It's hopeful.
It is. But, and this might sound a little out there, there's also this element of, I don't know, like mystery in his work. He actually claims he saw a UFO.
A UFO.
Yeah, seriously. He describes it in detail. Now, I know we're not like a UFO podcast or anything.
Not yet, at least.
Exactly. But what's interesting is how this experience connects to some of the other themes we've been talking about, like questioning what we think we know, being open to new possibilities.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries of perception.
Totally. And that ties into the self-discovery and spiritual connection, right? Like being open to the unknown, recognizing that there might be more to this world than we realize.
Interesting. So the UFO is more than just a random anecdote. It's part of a larger exploration.
Yeah. He even says, things are aligning, as if this sighting is somehow connected to his own personal journey, like it was meant to happen.
Wow. Okay. And then later, remember, he has that dream about a ministry. He doesn't say much about it, just that it was super vivid and he needed to write it down.
Right. So we have this UFO sighting that seems to be more significant than we initially thought, and then this dream about a ministry. It's like, what's going on here?
It's like those two things, as different as they are somehow connected.
Exactly. And it all ties back to that war for your mind idea, right? It's not just about overcoming external challenges. It's about these internal battles that shape how we see the world.
And maybe the UFO and the dream are part of that war, part of some larger process of awakening or transformation that he's going through.
Yeah, definitely thought-provoking. And it suggests that his journey is far from over,
Yeah.
He's still exploring, still searching for answers.
And maybe this ministry, if it actually happens, is part of those answers.
Possibly. But let's move on to the next piece of the puzzle. We found a post-Carnage One Only made around Thanksgiving, where he's expressing gratitude for his audience, especially after some, and I quote, messed up occurrences. He even says, "It really opened my eyes to how many people care about me and are always there to have my back."
Oh, wow. So even with this image of strength and defiance, he's still acknowledging the importance of support.
Right, and that really highlights the power of community, which, as we've seen, is a major theme in his work.
And it makes him more human, more relatable. He's not just preaching from on high. He's saying, hey, I need support too.
Exactly. And it seems like that resonates with a lot of people. He talks about being shown a lot of love and support, which suggests he's really built a community around his work,
Yeah.
a place where people feel seen and heard.
Which, again, ties back to the ministry idea, creating that sense of belonging, of shared experience, of helping each other through tough times.
Okay, so we've seen how his personal struggles have shaped his message and how that message has resonated with people. And now we've got this potential ministry in the mix. But what does this ministry actually look like? What are its goals? How does it aim to achieve them? That's what I'm curious about.
Well, I think that's where the mission statement comes in, right? It provides a roadmap, a vision for how this whole thing could actually work. Okay, so we've established that Carnage One Only's work, it touches on some pretty profound stuff, and there's this clear desire to help people. So let's actually dive into these core values outlined for this potential ministry.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to talk about resilience and finding your purpose, right?
Mhm.
But how do you actually turn that into something real, something that can actually help people in a practical way? I'm curious to see how they've thought this through.
That's what these core values are for. They're like a set of guiding principles, a framework for the ministry, so to speak. The first one they emphasize is empathy and compassion.
Okay, that makes sense, right? I mean, Carnage One only talks a lot about wanting to help others, like alleviate suffering. At one point, he even mentions wanting to be a cop or a comedian just to make people feel better.
Exactly. It's all about understanding others, caring for them, especially those who are struggling. Remember how he called himself a bearer of water, like offering aid to those in need?
Right, right. So it's not just words, it's about action, right? Like actually showing up for people in a real way.
Exactly. And that's where this empathy and compassion thing comes in. It's like the foundation of everything. It's about creating a safe space where people feel seen and heard and, understood.
Yeah, which kind of leads into the next core value, right?
Yeah.
Authenticity and vulnerability.
Yeah.
This seems like it's been like a cornerstone of Carnage One Only's message from the beginning.
Absolutely. And it's huge GE, especially these days when everyone online is trying to be perfect, right? He totally rejects that. He's all about being real, sharing his struggles openly and honestly.
Yeah, and that's so important, especially for young people who are just bombarded with these like filtered, picture-perfect versions of reality. He's like, hey, it's okay to not be okay.
Right. It's okay to be messy. It's okay to be flawed. We're all human.
Totally. And by being so open about his own struggles, it's like he's giving other people permission to do the same, to just be themselves.
It takes courage, for sure, especially with a big audience like his. But he's basically saying, I'm not going to hide who I am, even if it makes me vulnerable.
And that's inspiring, right? To see someone embrace their flaws and imperfections like that.
Absolutely. And this ministry, it would embrace that same spirit of authenticity, encouraging people to just be themselves, no apologies.
I love that. Okay, so we've got empathy and authenticity. What else? Because we were talking earlier about Carnage One Only's emphasis on self-discovery and purpose, right?
Right. And that's actually the third core value, self-discovery and purpose. And it's super connected to that war for your mind idea we were talking about earlier, because figuring out who you are, what you believe in, and what your purpose is Well, that's a big part of that battle.
I love how he talks about everyone being intricately designed for purpose
Hmm.
and having something great and divine within them. It's such a positive message,
Yeah.
especially in a world that can feel so negative and cynical sometimes.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that every person has inherent worth and potential. And this ministry, it would be all about helping people tap into that, to
Ha-
discover their unique gifts and talents.
Yeah, it's like he's saying, don't let the world tell you who you are or what you're capable of. You have something special inside you, a unique purpose, and it's up to you to find it.
Exactly. And it's not always an easy journey, There are going to be challenges, setbacks, moments of doubt. And that's where the fourth core value comes in: resilience and growth.
Okay, so it's not enough to just find your purpose. You have to have the strength and determination to pursue it, even when things get tough. Which, let's be real, Carnage One only has definitely demonstrated that, right?
For sure. He's faced some serious stuff, but he's come out stronger on the other side.
Hmm.
That's resilience in action.
Yeah, exactly. He's all about taking those hard times, those messed up occurrences, and turning them into opportunities for growth and learning. Remember how he talked about saving up his lessons, regrets, and pain,
Yeah.
and realizing that there's purpose in the pain?
Wow, yeah. Powerful stuff. It's like he's saying, don't let your pain go to waste. Don't let it break you. Use it to fuel your growth, to learn, to become a stronger person.
Exactly. And this ministry, it would be about helping other people do that same thing, right? To see challenges as opportunities to build resilience and come back even stronger.
Absolutely. Especially important for young people, When they're facing those first real challenges, it's about giving them the tools and the mindset to navigate those difficulties and come out on top.
Okay, this is great. What's the next core value?
Creative self-expression. Think about how Carnage One only uses his lyrics, like his pen is a sword, to process what he's going through and connect with others. This ministry would recognize how powerful creativity can be for healing and growth.
Oh, I love that. Because it's like he's saying your voice matters. Your story matters. You don't have to be a professional artist to express yourself. Just find your way, whether it's music, art, writing, whatever.
Right. Everyone has a story to tell, a unique perspective to share.
It's like, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Use your creativity to understand your emotions, to connect with other people who might be feeling the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now this next one is particularly relevant, especially after some of the things we've talked about. Spiritual connection.
Right. This goes beyond just the ministry idea itself.
Right.
I mean, Carnage One Only's work is full of references to God, faith, finding meaning in something bigger than ourselves.
He talks about a war for your minds, restoring faith to purpose, everyone having a piece of the divine within them. It's pretty clear spirituality is a big part of his worldview.
It is, but what I find interesting is he never gets preachy about it.
Yeah.
He's exploring his own spirituality and kind of inviting others to do the same, but without any judgment or pressure.
That's right. And this ministry, it wouldn't shy away from the spiritual side of things.
Yeah.
It would encourage people to explore their own spirituality as a path to healing, but it wouldn't be about forcing any one belief system on anyone.
That's important because spirituality is such a personal thing. And what resonates for one person might not work for another. It's about respecting everyone's individual journey.
Right, creating a space where people from all backgrounds and beliefs can come together and support each other's spiritual exploration.
So it's about connecting with each other, but also connecting with something bigger than ourselves. I like that.
Me too. And that leads us to the next core value, which kind of builds on that idea: community and support. The idea that we're not meant to walk this path alone.
Yeah. He's always talking to you all in his videos, recognizing that shared experience. And remember how grateful he was for all the support he got after those messed up occurrences.
Exactly. It shows how vital that support system is, especially when you're going through hard times. And this ministry, it would really prioritize creating that sense of belonging, of mutual support.
That's something a lot of people are looking for these days, that sense of belonging. It can be a very isolating world out there. And I think Carnage One Only is tapping into that need for connection, for knowing that you're not alone.
Absolutely. And feeling like you're part of something bigger, that can be really healing, really empowering.
Okay, what's next?
Hmm.
We talked earlier about the power of words, right? And how Carnage One Only is so skilled with language.
That's right. And that leads to the next core value: the power of words. It might sound a little, I don't know, unusual at first, but it's actually really profound when you think about it. Carnage One only talks about how words manifest, how they can actually shape reality.
And He's definitely a wordsmith, right? His lyrics are so full of emotion, vivid imagery. He clearly believes in the power of language.
Totally. And this ministry, it would encourage people to be mindful of the words they use, both to themselves and others, recognizing that language can heal, it can encourage, it can build people up.
Like that Maya Angelou quote, words are things I'm convinced.
Yeah.
It's about being careful with the words you use because they have power.
Exactly. It's about awareness, being intentional with your language.
Okay, what else? We're getting to the end of the list, right?
Almost. The next one is continuous self-improvement. It really resonates with me because I try to live that way myself. It's about understanding that personal growth is an ongoing journey, not a finish line you cross.
Yeah, I get that. Carnage One only talks about wanting to be a better man today and something better than before.
Yeah.
He's clearly committed to growth himself.
And this ministry, it would encourage that mindset in everyone, encouraging people to learn from their mistakes, to have that growth mindset, to always be striving to be better versions of themselves.
And not about being perfect, right?
Yeah.
It's about embracing the journey, the ups and downs, the constant learning and evolving.
Right. And that brings us to the last one, which actually ties together so much of what we've been talking about. Overcoming adversity. It's like a culmination of all the other values.
Like it's acknowledging that life's going to throw you curveballs,
Yeah.
right? You're going to face challenges, setbacks, those messed up occurrences, but you have the power to overcome those obstacles and come out stronger.
And Carnage One-Only's whole story is like proof of that. He's faced inner demons, he's experienced setbacks, he's had his share of messed up occurrences, but he's here, he's stronger, he's resilient.
And this ministry would help others do the same, offering support, guidance, encouragement to face their own challenges, to rise above and find that inner strength.
It's about that unshakable belief in yourself that no matter what life throws at you, you can overcome it.
Okay, wow. We covered a lot here. Empathy, authenticity, self-discovery, resilience, creative expression, spiritual connection, community, the power of words, self-improvement, overcoming adversity. That's a pretty solid framework for a ministry, wouldn't you say?
It is, and it really speaks to the depth of Carnage One-Only's message. It's inspiring to see how his ideas could be put into action to help people who are struggling with similar things.
Okay, but we've been talking about this ministry theoretically, right? Let's bring it back to Carnage One Only himself. Does he actually mention a ministry specifically anywhere?
He does, and it's actually in a kind of unexpected place. Remember that UFO sighting we talked about earlier?
Oh yeah, the orb with the red light, that was wild.
Well, in a video he posted later, reflecting on that experience, he says, "Sometimes I feel like I already did make it thanks to y'all all. Just to think these posts you left me for an eternal reference card in moments of doubt or time you're missed." He's talking about the comments from his fans, how they've given him strength and support.
Ah, that's sweet. It shows how much he appreciates that connection with his audience. Their words have really made a difference for him.
But here's where it gets interesting. He goes on to say, "I had a desire to look back through the videos from the evening I posted about. When I take a picture, there is a short video that the camera takes beforehand. So in those clips, I piece together this video, and I will let your own conscience observe. I am curious, though. Things are aligning."
Wait, so he's saying there's even more to the UFO story than he originally shared? And he's going to let the viewers decide for themselves what they see.
Exactly. And then he adds, "Things are aligning." It's almost like he's hinting that this UFO thing is connected to something bigger, a bigger purpose, a plan that's unfolding, like it was meant to happen.
And then, remember, he has that dream about a ministry later on. He doesn't go into details, just says it was super vivid and he needed to write it down.
So we have this UFO sighting, which seems to be way more significant than we first thought. And then this dream about a ministry. It's like, what's the connection here?
Yeah, it's like pieces of a puzzle are starting to fit together. And that line from his lyrics keeps coming back to me. Test what's in my head, but watch your step. You see there's depth. Maybe there's a deeper meaning here that he's still trying to figure out.
It's definitely intriguing, and it suggests that his journey is far from over. He's still exploring, still searching for answers.
And maybe this ministry, if it becomes a reality, will be part of those answers.
Maybe. But what about this mission statement? What does that tell us about the potential direction of this whole thing?
Yeah, that seems like a good place to pick up next time, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we go from these core values to a real functioning ministry?
Totally. Let's dive into that mission statement next time and see what we can uncover.
All right, so we left off talking about the mission statement for this potential ministry. It feels like that's the key to understanding how this whole thing could actually work,
Yeah, definitely. It's like the bridge between the ideas and the action, right?
Exactly. So what does it actually say?
Okay, so it's a bit of a mouthful. Ready? It says, to foster a community of healing and hope, guiding individuals, especially the youth, to discover their unique divine purpose, embrace their struggles as a source of strength, and find their voice through self-expression and connection with God.
Okay, there's a lot in there.
Right.
But let's break it down. So it starts with fostering a community of healing and hope, which kind of echoes what we were just talking about, that need for connection, for support.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that we're not meant to go through these struggles alone, It's about creating a space where people can feel safe, supported, understood, like share their experiences and find strength in each other's journeys.
And it specifically mentions guiding individuals, especially the youth, which, given Carnage One Only's audience and the themes he explores, makes total sense.
Totally. He seems to have a real knack for connecting with young people, those who are dealing with mental health stuff, addiction, societal pressures, all those things that can make you feel lost and alone.
Yeah. It's like he's saying, hey, I get it. I've been there, and you can get through this.
Exactly. And this mission statement is about translating that message into actual, tangible support.
Okay, I like that. So what about this next part? To discover their unique divine purpose. What's he getting at there?
It builds on that whole idea of everyone having something great and divine inside them, recognizing that every person has worth, has potential.
Right. It's almost like a call to action,
Yeah.
Like, hey, you've got a purpose. You've got a unique contribution to make. Go find it.
Yeah, and it's not about telling people what their purpose should be. It's about giving them the tools and the support to figure it out for themselves. Discover their passions, their talents, what they're meant to do.
And the wording, divine purpose, it suggests there's something bigger at play here, right? Something beyond just our own little individual desires.
Yeah, it's connecting to a higher power, something transcendent.
Which ties back to the spiritual element we were talking about before.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're not just physical beings, but spiritual beings as well. And that connection to something bigger can be a source of healing, hope, purpose.
Okay, so the next phrase, I love this, embrace their struggles as a source of strength. It's like the whole theme of the episode in one sentence.
I know, right? Turning adversity into fuel.
We've talked about it all along, but the mission statement makes it so explicit. It's about taking those challenges and using them to grow.
Right. Challenges are part of life. We can't avoid them, but we can choose how we respond to them. We can learn from them. We can grow from them. We can become more resilient.
It's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but on a deeper level. And Carnage One Only is living proof of that, right? He's taken his tough experiences and turned them into something positive.
Yeah, he's channeling that pain, that struggle into his creativity, his message, his whole outlook.
And it's not about pretending the pain isn't real, right? It's about acknowledging it, but also recognizing that there's potential for growth within those difficult experiences.
Yeah, he's saying don't let those struggles break you. Use them to build yourself up, to become a more compassionate, understanding, resilient person.
I love that. Okay, almost done, right? What's the last part of the mission statement?
It says, and find their voice through self-expression and connection with God. It's like all the threads we've been talking about are coming together here.
Yeah, totally. Self-expression, spirituality, finding your purpose, it's all connected.
Right. It's about the power of creativity, whether it's through music, art, writing, whatever. It's about encouraging people to share their stories, their experiences, their unique perspective.
And it's not just self-expression for the sake of self-expression, right? It's about using that creativity to connect with something bigger, to tap into something deeper within yourself.
Exactly. Finding your voice and your connection to the divine through that act of creation.
This mission statement, it's really powerful stuff. It's a vision for a world where people feel supported, empowered, connected to something bigger than themselves.
It really is. And it all comes from this one guy sharing his struggles, his journey of healing with the world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Carnage One Only, I think we're left with a lot to think about. We've explored the power of vulnerability, the importance of resilience, how transformative creative expression can be, and the impact that one person's message can have on the world.
Yeah. It's been a fascinating journey through some pretty unconventional sources. And it just goes to show you, even with the rough edges, the unusual presentation, Carnage One Only's work speaks to something universal. That human search for meaning, connection, purpose.
And I think that's the takeaway here, right? Even in a world that feels chaotic, divided, there's still hope. There's still beauty. There's still potential for healing, for growth, for connection. And maybe, just maybe, we can all play a role in creating that.
So as you go about your day-to-day, remember those words from Carnage One Only. Get back up today. Embrace those struggles. Find your voice. And create the world you want to see. One word, one action at a time.
And that's it for our deep dive today. Thanks for joining us.